All right, we got SCP-767 True Crime Anomaly crime scene photographs by the GOAT, the guy, Dr. Bob. Definitely want to check out more of the oddity, but today we just gonna do some Dr. Bob and let me like it. Let's check it out. Let's check it out.
You'll be starting out with cold cases.
Yeah, that's a skit head, bald head, to a spit shine head. Oh, my fault, Admiral. You know, don't lock me up, officer. Shit, fuck you talking about?
The police chief tells the detective who has just arrived for his first day at the precinct.
That nigga, Crimson Chin. Why your chin so bold? Like,
We've got more than enough to keep you busy, so head on down to the archives and get started. The new detective is looking forward to taking on these unsolved crimes. Cracking the overlooked and long since forgotten cases is one of his specialties, and it brings him great joy to solve the puzzles that no one else has been able to. The detective heads to a part of the police station that doesn't look like it sees much foot traffic, where he finds the door labeled Archives. Inside the room, the air is musty, and when the detective sets down his bag on a table, a thick cloud of dust is ejected and makes
go clean your office space.
him sneeze. He takes out the list of cases he's supposed to be working on and goes to a shelf containing rows and rows of evidence boxes. He pulls one down and starts looking through the files inside. It's full of police reports, witness statements, crime scene photos, and even bits of evidence. Hours pass as the detective goes down his list, looking through box after box, report after report. He finds that it's best to take a cursory survey first and see if anything leaps out at him, before drilling down to start combing through the details. As he pulls down the last box from his list of cases that the chief told him to work on, he notices something. High up on a shelf, nestled among the many identical cardboard boxes, is what looks to be a piece of leather luggage. He can't help but wonder what this is doing here in the archives. Is it a piece of evidence from another case that got left here for some reason? Or did someone simply forget their bag after they finished looking through old files? Whatever the reason it's here, he has a job to do, and investigating this bag isn't on his list. But then again, he knows he won't be able to focus until he knows what this bag is and what's inside. He'll let himself take just a quick
Curiosity killed the cat, my nigga. Mind your business. Do what you gotta do. You know it ain't got nothing to do with you, but yeah, you gonna do it anyway. Something wrong with y'all, nigga. Bro. I don't know.
peek, then it's back to work. The detective returns to the shelf with the bag. It looks like it's been here for a long time. There's a layer of dust covering it that's as thick as anything else in the room. He takes it down and blows the dust off the bag. He unlatches it, and inside he finds a folder. Is this just another report? But what's it doing here? Maybe they ran out of boxes one day and someone decided to use an old briefcase instead. The detective takes out the folder and opens it. Just as he suspected, it is another case report. It's only a single page, though, with several photographs paperclipped to it. He takes the photos off the report and begins looking through them. They appear to be numbered in order, and the first picture shows a mess of red liquid and chunks of what might be meat or bone. The next two show various angles of a badly mutilated corpse. It's been so violently mangled, though, that the victim is barely even recognizable as a human. The detective paperclips the photos back to the report and puts it back in the case. If this murder only has one page of evidence to work with, then he is classifying it as a revisit after literally everything else in the room is solved kind of case. The detective goes back to the last box that he was looking through and starts flipping through the case files again. But something about that leather briefcase and the photos inside won't get out of his mind. Maybe there is something there. Without even realizing it, he's suddenly standing over the case again. He takes out the report and starts looking through the pictures once more. Again, he sees the disfigured corpse from different angles, but the fourth picture is completely different. This one shows what looks to be someone's feet, but they're up in the air, as if they jumped and took a picture of their shoes. There's something wrong with the picture too, some kind of odd discoloration.
Now we're literally just sitting here, watch this man make the biggest mistake of his life, and he's over-analyzing everything. I thought he just wanted a little whiff just to, get his curiosity out. This is more than curiosity. Looking like it's becoming an obsession, my nigga. Like, relax, put the shit back and do your job.
Around the edges. It looks like an error occurred in the development process. Why would this be in a case file? It's tugging at his curiosity.
It's tugging at your curiosity.
But no, he really shouldn't be spending his time on this, not on his first day at a new job. The detective places everything back in the case and puts it back up on the shelf where he found it before deciding to call it a day. That night, he finds that—
Yo, never mind, bro. I don't want no beef, bro. This man arm built like the Hulk. That shit really swole for real. Nigga been at the weight. Sheesh. Okay, all right. You still gonna die, but damn, nigga, you're like crazy.
But he can't sleep. The detective keeps seeing the disfigured face every time he closes his eyes.
You said get like him, Cozy? Hey, little do I know, bro. Don't let these hoodies fool you, bro. That's the reason I wear big hoodies. Like, I'm fucking eat tuck out.
And why the picture of floating feet? What does it all mean? His mind is racing, trying to make sense of it all. By the time his alarm...
You said, Cozy, can you handle him? Can he handle bullets? That's the only question I need to be answered.
Alarm starts beeping. The detective realizes that he hasn't slept at all. Later that morning, the detective is back in the chief's office again. The chief tells him that he looks awful and asks if the job is getting to him already. The detective does look terrible, and something about the room is making him very uncomfortable. The ceiling feels too low, like it moved down a foot or two since the last time he was here. It's also very dim. Who can operate in such a dark room? He stands up and asks if he can turn on some more lights, and before the chief can answer, he switches on more. The chief squints from the bright fluorescent lights coming on and tells the detective to get back to work and to make sure he gets some sleep that night. If he can't, then maybe this job isn't for him. The detective returns to the archives to pick up where he left off the day before and goes back to looking through the files on his list. But of course, that leather briefcase always seems to be right in his field of view, reaching out to him, begging him to uncover its secrets. That's it, the detective thinks. He has no choice. He has to know what's going on with this file. He takes the briefcase down again, opens the report, and starts going through the photos again. 3 pictures of a gross corpse, check. Picture 4 showing someone's feet. Nothing new there. Now it's time to finally look at the rest. The 5th picture is similar to the 4th, but the person's feet look a little closer to the ground. Wait a minute. Are these in reverse order? He looks at the next. This one doesn't have anyone in it. It's a picture of a table, and it looks like there is writing on it, though the writing is very small. He leans in close and squints, but he still can't make it out. He runs to his own bag and searches around until he finds what he was looking for, a magnifying glass. He goes back to the picture, and with the magnifying glass he can finally read the writing. It's above you. He snaps his head up and looks above him, but nothing is there. He laughs to himself. Of course nothing is there. Maybe the chief is right. Maybe something really is getting to him and he isn't cut out for this job. But still, he needs to learn more. He looks at the 7th picture. He sees now that he was right.
It's above you. Nigga, it's above where, nigga? I've been left the office. Fuck is you talking about?
These are definitely in reverse chronological order. In the next picture...
This isn't even his case. Like, what are you worried about this for? This is what...
He sees whoever took the photos approaching the table in the room. In the 10th photo, he sees them walking through a doorway. In the 11th, he sees them opening the door to the room. Finally, he comes to the last photo. It's a photo of the closed door to the room. There's writing on the door, and the detective can hardly believe what he is seeing when he reads it. The writing on the door says, Archives. The detective jumps up and spins around, but the room is empty. There's no one here but him. What's going on? Is this some kind of prank? He picks up the report the pictures were attached to.
All right,
there must be
Cozy.
some answers in there. The paper appears to be a standard police report that was filled out following the discovery of a homicide. The top of the page lists the address where the murder took place. It's the very place he is now, the police station's address. Next to it is the date. It's impossible, though. The date is... today's.
GG, bro. GG, bro. GG, bro. GG, bro. GG, bro.
Archives can hold untold secrets, and many of those are often quite dangerous, as anyone familiar with the SCP Foundation is already well aware. Rarely is the file in the archive itself the danger, but that is exactly the case with SCP-767, a deadly series of crime...
Whoa, Dr. Ball black? Wait, hold on. Oh, that's his brown hair. I'm not gonna lie. Dr. Bob got a nigga chin also. Why y'all chins just be like sloped? That shit like a fucking large-ass, wide-ass boomerang.
But that is exactly the case with SCP-767, a deadly series of crime scene photos that are anything but what they seem. SCP-767 is the designation for a series of anomalous objects, which were recovered from a police department's own archives. They include a series of 12 Polaroid photographs, which have been given the designation SCP-767-1 through 12, that appear to be the source of the anomalous properties surrounding the objects. Each photograph is labeled 1 through 12 in the lower left-hand corner, though they appear to be labeled in reverse chronological order. When viewed in reverse, that is, starting with the picture labeled 12, the photos depict a first-person perspective of someone entering a room and examining a table. The table will have writing on it, which alternates between the iterations of SCP-767, and will either read, "It's above you," or "On the ceiling," written with a red substance that appears to be fresh blood. The next photos continue to be from a first-person perspective and will show the person taking the photos being lifted up into the air above the table, with wisps of black smoke visible around the edges of the frame that look at first glance like either photo development issues or damage to the picture. The final 3 pictures depict a fresh corpse that has been so heavily mutilated by lacerations that it is completely unrecognizable, while the last picture shows a body that appears to have been virtually liquefied in some way, with gore and viscera spread around the room. The origin of these photos is unknown, and it's unknown if they were ever taken at all or merely manifested in some way. When the photos are taken to a new location and are...
You said Google this SCP-767. Let me see. Let me see. That's pretty whack, bro. These are the only images. Yeah, ain't really nothing. You feel me? There's nothing here.
allowed to remain there for 1 week. They will change to reflect a room within the building where they are being kept, with the individual portrayed in the photos being an image of the last person to experience the photo's frightening effects. More on what those are later. The ability of SCP-767 to change based on the location it is in is also present in SCP-767-13 and 14, which are the police report and the brown leather valise that always accompany the photos. The police report has an address and date at the top, both of which will somehow change to reflect the current date and location of SCP-767, while the leather briefcase has a gold monogram on it that will change to whatever the name is of the owner or head of the structure that it is contained in. But that is far from where the anomalous properties of SCP-767 end. Individuals who are exposed to the photographs will experience a wide range of effects that are based on how far into the photo series they look. Those that view SCP-767-1 through 3 will report feeling no special effects, besides the normal reaction one has to seeing a badly mutilated corpse, with most describing the photos as weird or disturbing. Those that view the photos labeled 4 through 6, though, will usually report that they have developed feelings of claustrophobia, with many also reporting a newfound bout of nyctophobia, that is, fear of the dark, or more specifically, a fear of the potential for bad things to happen in the dark.
Yo, I definitely used to have that, bro. I was never scared of the dark. I was scared of what could happen to me in the dark. But, you know, you got to be the mindset that you are the monster in the dark.
Fears will also vary in intensity based on how many of the photos were viewed. Subjects who are exposed to the 7th, 8th, and 9th photos will feel an overwhelming desire to inspect the ceiling, and most are observed snapping their heads upwards immediately after reading the writing on the table in the photo. In later interviews, subjects have described the feeling as instinctual, or as if someone had yelled the words at them like a warning. Following this, the subject will experience a sensation of being watched, and will usually report having persistent chills. Those who view the final 3 photos will appear to suffer a fear-induced paralysis effect when they attempt to move away from the photos. A shadowy, black, effervescent mass will begin to form on the ceiling directly above the subject, which has been designated SCP-767-15, though the presence of this mass has only been reported by in-person witnesses, as it doesn't appear on photographic or video recordings. Tendrils of the gaseous material will reach down from the mass and grab the affected subject, lifting them up into the air before violently attacking them. The subject will suffer deep lacerations as the tendrils cut into it before it completely destroys them, leaving them as little more than a pool of blood and pieces of flesh. The nature of this dark cloud of gas, where it comes from, or why it engages in this behavior is currently unknown, and attempts to stop it once it has gotten hold of its victim have only led to those who intervene being pushed away by a powerful force, with all weapons passing harmlessly through the mass. In the time since its discovery by the SCP Foundation, multiple other unsolved cases of victims that appeared to suffer similar fates have been identified, and investigations into whether they are connected to SCP-767 and the 767-15 entity are ongoing. The SCP-767-1 through 12 photos are to be kept inside of the SCP-767-13 report, which is itself stored within the brown leather SCP-767-14 valise. And the entire group is kept at an SCP Foundation Hazardous Items Secure Containment Center. Due to the little we understand about its nature or origin, the entirety of the anomalous objects that make up SCP-767, including the SCP-767-15 entity, have been classified as Euclid, and any access to the objects requires written authorization from at least one Level 4 site administrator. SCP-767 may not be the most dangerous file in the SCP Foundation's archive, but it may just be the most dangerous literal file. There are plenty other surprisingly dangerous objects that can impact you in ways you never expected, though. Like SCP-1875, the antique chess automaton that is capable of powerful effects that you have to see to believe. Go watch that file examination right now, and don't forget to subscribe to be the first to learn about the next anomaly from the SCP Foundation's classified archives.
That boy Bob an anomaly. You know on God that nigga an anomaly, bro. That nigga move point blank.
Next anomaly.
Nigga, what you talking about? Hey, this was fire. Shout out Dr. Bob. Nigga was not playing with you. He said, watch out. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out, watch out. All right.